Today I'm going to share with you my 5 favorite exercises that you can do from home for the core to help stabilize the lower back and prevent injuries from occurring there. What's going on, guys? Blake here, GuerrillaZen Fitness. Have you ever heard that you need to be strengthening your core in order to help out with your lower back? Have you ever wondered what the best exercises to do this are? Well, that's what today's video is all about. Core training that targets the lower back to improve its function and stability should really focus on 2 things. One is avoiding movement patterns that people commonly make that can aggravate the lower back. A lot of spinal flexion, all right? Rounding of the lower back forwards, such as what you're doing during a sit-up or a crunch. We may want to avoid that and basically train the core while maintaining a neutral spine. Another thing that today's exercises are going to have in common is, other than keeping your spine in a neutral position, a lot of them are going to target muscles that are commonly weak in the core, all right? Things like the transversus abdominis, the obliques, all right? Most people, when they train their core, they're just working their abs, the rectus abdominis. And there are many other core muscles that need to be strengthened in tandem with those in order to have good lumbar, lower back stability. And that's what today's video is all about. All right, with no further ado, let's get right into the exercises. This first exercise is called a stomach vacuum. And this really helps to target and activate the transversus abdominis, which, think of this kind of like your own built-in weight belt in your body, okay? It brings stability to the entire core of your body. Also, think of your core more like an apple core, right? Not just, an apple core is 360 degrees around, right? It's not just there's not just the front of the apple core, there's the sides, the back as well. And this is a better way to think of the core as opposed to just thinking of your abs, right? This movement right here, like I said, helps to activate the transversus abdominis, which you can look up the anatomy of that. It's a pretty interesting muscle, but effective, the best way to do this is to get in a quadruped position like this. And this actually is not going to look like I'm doing anything, but what you're going to do here is you're going to draw your belly button in and suck in your gut like you're trying to make your waist as small as possible, all right? So you're pulling the belly button up towards the spine, all right? It doesn't look like I just did anything, but I promise you I did. Here, I'll kind of show you what we're doing here. All right, so in this position, you're going to basically draw the belly button in like this. Okay, see how thin my waist is becoming right now? I'm activating the transversus abdominis to do this, all right? You might even feel this in your low back. But for this, this is kind of a basic way to begin to strengthen the transversus abdominis. Just hold that one isometrically for 4 sets of 30 seconds. These exercises I'm going to show you in sequence here are designed with the easiest ones kind of being shown initially here, starting with this one, and they kind of get more advanced as we go through the remaining ones. This second exercise is known as a dead bug, all right? I don't know why it's called that. I suppose it's because it looks like an insect that's dying or something like that. But how you're going to start with this is you're going to lay flat on your back, all right? You're going to bend your knees and pull them up, and your arms are going to be up as well. And what you're going to do is you're going to pick one leg. You're going to extend that leg as you extend the opposite arm at the same time, and then you're going to come back together, all right? Switch sides, come back together. What you're trying to do here is prevent the lower back from arching off the ground, okay? Keep your abs real tight the entire time, and basically repeat this motion here, all right? This is kind of the easiest version of this. If you want to make this more challenging, you can do a bilateral version. This is a unilateral version, meaning we're working one side at a time. If you want to do, a bilateral version where you're using both arms and both legs at the same time, it can look something like this. The key with this, though, is that you're stabilizing the lower back and not allowing it to arch like this, okay? You gotta squeeze this real hard and do your best to keep your lower back flat, flush against the ground as you do this, all right? If you're gonna do the unilateral version, you can do a couple sets of like 10 on each side. If you're gonna do the bilateral version, which is more advanced, I would do that for, a couple sets of 10. The next one is just the good old-fashioned, tried and true plank, all right? To get started with this, elbows down, basically neutral spine, chin tucked, neck retracted like this, okay? You want your hips to be level with your shoulders. You don't want your head to be down here. You don't want your hips sagging like this either, all right? Keep the hips up, level with the shoulders, keep the chin tucked, head pushed back. Now, I always say this, you're never too advanced for the plank, all right? It doesn't matter how long you've been training, you can always consciously squeeze your core muscles harder when you're in this position, all right? So, you're never too advanced for it. Make it hard on yourself if it's otherwise very easy for you to just hang out in that position, all right? A modification to this, if you're somebody that has anterior pelvic tilt, all right? You're somebody that stands with too much arch in your low back and your pelvis is tilted forwards excessively, kind of like that, right? You got this big old arch in your low back, everything is tilted forwards more. You might want to modify the way that you're doing the plank and do it with a posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, it's also called an RKC plank. Basically, it's the same thing, but you're tucking your pelvis underneath you and you're getting your feet a little bit wider, all right? A little bit wider with the feet. Tuck the pelvis underneath really hard and flatten out that lower back, okay? Doing this is not the same as doing this, just so you know, okay? Keep the hips up, level with the shoulders, but tuck the butt underneath you. Squeeze your butt really hard and squeeze your abs really hard as well. This is basically just a modified version of the plank that is more specific to helping to correct anterior pelvic tilt, which is that frontal tilting of the pelvis, which is a very common cause of a lot of low back tightness and discomfort. Next one on the list is just going to be a simple old side plank to work the obliques, all right? To set up for this, start with one elbow down. You're going to stack your feet on top of each other, lift your hips up, maintain a neutral spine as best as you can, nice and straight spine. What's working here are the obliques closest to the floor. So right now I'm only working this side. This is a unilateral exercise. How many ever seconds you hold this on one side, you want to do equally on the other side, all right? That might be too hard for you to do, so I'll show you a regression right now. Instead of being popped up on your toes, or your feet rather, you could do this at the knees here instead, all right? This kind of shortens your body functionally and basically will allow this area to work still, just holding up less of your body's mass, all right? If you actually want to progress this and make this more challenging, you can throw in some dynamic movements. For example, you could do some of these, I call these plank bends. You know, touch your hips to the ground, push back up. You could do about 10 of these and then hold it isometrically here, following the 10 reps, all right? That'll really help you exhaust that area if you find that just doing regular side planks are way too easy. The last one I'm going to show you is a bird dog, all right? This is commonly something that is assigned to people with low back issues. Most people just are not advanced enough to do this properly, all right? Which is why I'm showing this at the end. This is probably the most advanced one. You really want to make sure that you have strength built up in your anterior core, the front, your abs, and the sides here with all the other exercises I've shown you to do before you attempt this if you're somebody that has like a sensitive low back, because this one is just way more form intensive, right? Basically to do this, you're going to start quadruped on all fours, all right? It's similar to a dead bug, but in reverse, right? You're going to start in this position. You're going to extend one leg and the opposite arm at the same time while squeezing your core as much as possible, and then you're going to come back together again like this. The idea here is to try to almost make it so that the lower back is not moving at all, all right? You don't want to be twisting like this or doing anything weird with your body. I actually worked with a friend of mine who's a physical therapist once who was having me do this 10 years ago, and he actually put a full glass of water on the back of my pelvis as I was doing this as a cue and for feedback for me to make sure that I'm not moving my spine at all, because if I did, the water would fall off my back. So that put a lot of pressure on me with regards to this exercise when I was doing it with him. And I'll tell you what, doing it like that is very challenging. You'll see a lot of people doing this at the gym, but they'll be horribly sloppy. They'll be arching their low back a lot, lifting up their head. They'll be twisting. Their hip will be falling. You want to keep everything as level and parallel with the ground as possible and really prevent motion from occurring at the spine as much as you can. That's what stability is. It's your ability to use your neuromuscular system to prevent motion from occurring at certain joints, all right? Which is why this exercise is so beneficial and challenging at the same time. It's really about how little can you move from the spine as you're doing this. All right, whatever you do to one side, as we always say, we want to do the other side as well. So if you do right arm, left leg for 10 reps, do the same on the left arm, right leg, all right? If you like this and you just find it's a little too hard to do it correctly, you can do an isometric version of this at first, meaning you kind of get in the end range position, but there's no motion that occurs after that, right? You really just focus on extending that back leg fully, raising up that arm fully, and just holding this isometrically for about 30 seconds on each side. All right, you might want to start with that before you move into the dynamic version. And when you do the dynamic version, maybe have a mirror beside you or videotape yourself to see how much motion there is occurring at the spine so that you can clean that up if you find that it's a problem for you. If you're looking for more exercises to help you work out your muscle imbalances, postural misalignments, mobility and flexibility issues, and you want to get stronger and leaner at the same time, then you're really going to like my free workout called the 3-Day Functional Training Split. This is a free workout. It's available on my website. All you need to do is open up the description down below, click the first link available there. That will take you over to my website where you can learn more about this workout plan. And if you want to get it, you just basically put in your email and I will send you a copy of the workout within 5 minutes. If you're looking for another spot to get that free workout, you can click this button up there. And if you are not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, make sure you go ahead and do that there. I upload here every single week. And if you want to see another video similar to today's video, check this out over here. And as always, that's it for today. I'll see you next time.